I am Jazzie Carrington, and this is my show, What's Hot with Jazzie. I'm introducing you to some of the hottest, most innovative people around the nation, from pop culture entertainment to people making a difference in your community and mine. So let's get started with What's Hot with Jazzie. Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to What's Hot with Jazzie. I'm your host today, Jazzie Carrington. And today I feel so honored to be here with Grammy nominated, Stellar Award nominated, and literally people come from miles and miles around the country to hear the smooth sounds of this fabulous, sensational artist, jazz mogul, Mr. Marcus Anderson.
Hey. You really, that's what, I've never had an intro like that before. I gotta say, that's
you deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Man,
yeah.
I'm so happy you're here today, Marcus. I feel so honored. To me, you are truly a jazz icon.
Really?
I really. You were up there with the greats Najee, Grover Washington.
Oh, that's saying
yes,
a lot.
Honey.
I don't know if I made it there yet, but you know, I'm gonna keep climbing until I get to that point.
Well, I beg to differ. Right. You are very talented, and we have so much to go over because you've been in the industry for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've done so much, and you're still continuing to do a lot even now today. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I want to know, though, if you could tell our viewers, how in the world, because you play that sax like you were made for it. I mean, like you were born with it.
I came out, you know, my mama's womb, and it was attached to me, so we have a strong connection.
I love it. So how old were you when you started playing or knew you wanted to play?
I was 12, turning 13 years old. And
really?
And I'm 38 now, so you do the math.
You're a whippersnapper.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been here, you know, for a long time, and because I've been doing it for so long. Yeah. You know, so I started when I was in middle school.
Wow.
That was the beginning of it, and I had a teacher that allowed us to jam and play after school. It was like a sport. So,
really?
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, you know, to kind of like play and jam with my friends. We just did that after school.
Well, you know, you have mastered it. And one of the things, I have been myself coming to see you perform for many, many years. I have. And I tell you, we always love your shows. And it's always a good time. You've performed for a lot of festivals. Yeah. You've performed on stages with people that I love. Brian Culbertson. Yeah. Dave Koz. Yeah. Stevie Wonder, Layla Hathaway. I could go on, and not to mention you had a chance to tour and to be on the last, I believe, album of Prince.
Yeah, it was the last album he released before he transitioned.
Wow.
Yeah, Hit and Run Phase 2.
Oh man. Yeah. What was that like working with Prince?
Oh man, people always ask me that, and I never really know how to answer it. Sometimes I can try to put it into words, but it's not something I can really just tell you about. It was an experience that changed my whole entire life, my perspective on just being an artist or musician. You know, he's the one that kind of fueled this drive for me to be not just a person that just went and did shows and just an artist, to really understand who it is that we are as a creative. Yeah. And to take ownership of our lives and our careers. So not allowing record labels, and this is no diss to any record labels, but not allowing a record label to determine your future, or allow someone to have the power of your creativity. Was what I think was the main thing. So, you know, working with Prince was a life lesson that I wish every musician could go through and learn.
Wow, because you know, I have a friend who actually toured with him many years ago, and he said that he was such an amazing person, and his work ethic and just the way he took care of himself, you know, was even just so impressive.
Yeah, he wanted us to take care of ourselves the same way too. Yeah, he was always saying you need to get down to your fighting weight, you know, because he watched in like boxing, and he was always talking about us like just staying healthy, being healthy.
Wow, I love that. And I know I saw that you had the pleasure of being featured on one of Brian Culberson's singles, which I love him. I love him.
Yeah,
he's like one of my favorite these days.
Brian is pretty amazing. It was great working with him.
Yeah.
It was only supposed to be like a 1.5, 2-year run. And it ended up being, because of the pandemic, ended up being like 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, because, we started together in like 2018 or something like that. And then we went through 2019. And then the pandemic happened. We were supposed to do this major tour.
Right.
And then I got pushed back to like 2021 of us testing going out again.
Yeah.
And it was like broken up into like small segments.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll stay for a little bit longer and just... enjoy the ride and learn a little bit more from them, because, it's not always about like money sometimes. Yeah. It's about, the experience of getting to work with people like him.
Well, I love the song you guys did together. I love that song.
Thank you.
Boy, it has some groove to it.
Yeah.
And, being on stage, I want to know, what was it like being on the same stage as Stevie Wonder?
Man, it was great. I mean, I got to meet him right before the show.
Yeah.
We talked for a little bit.
Did you see?
I didn't listen. Oh my gosh.
That was so shady.
but seriously, like, I got to sit with him, a couple of times before the show. We did a thing at the White House for the Obamas.
Oh, wow.
They were in office, and that was the first time I got to meet him. I was like, how you doing, Stevie and Marcus? And he was like, oh, very nice to meet you. And then we jammed on stage for that, and then we had another after jam thing, like the next night that we did. That was fun, and then we ended up going to eat after the show. And I sat beside, Stevie again.
You sat beside Stevie?
Had a couple of conversations with him.
Oh my God!
I never got to tour with Stevie, but getting to play with him and jam on stage is something that not many musicians get to say.
Yes.
So I get to say that I got to get to play and work with him.
Well, Stevie Wonder is, he's such an icon. He is one of him and Donny Hathaway. Ooh. My two favorite male artists of all times, as well as Prince.
Yeah, you gotta check out Frank McComb. Frank McComb is he's like a hybrid of Herbie Hancock, Donny Hathaway, and Stevie Wonder.
What?
Yeah, he's a mixture of like all three. So if you don't know who he is, you gotta definitely check him out.
Well, I know that you have a new program, project that you're working on that I love this. You implemented at North Carolina Central University, which I love, especially being an HBCU. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the new program is called LEAP, which stands for Leadership in Entertainment and the Arts Program. And basically what it does, it allows me to be able to mentor and teach students at a mass level at the university and teach them about the industry of music and entertainment.
Right.
And it's not just focused on music, but it's to start as the entry level of it. And what I've done is I've given my my workshops and master classes to the students, and I've recorded online videos. We've had it transcribed and broken up into workbooks for them to be able to download into like PDFs.
Wow. So
that's like the online like educational aspect of them to be able to have access to that 24/7. It's available to them free of charge because it comes with their tuition. And then in addition to that, I'll be giving like classes and lessons a couple of times a month to the students. And then thirdly, I'll be bringing in different people as like subject matter expert celebrities.
Wow.
So
I know you got Tommy Davidson.
Tommy Davidson is the first. Yeah. The second one is the second, third, and fourth is Yvonne McNair, who's in the business management of the entertainment world. Also, someone in fashion and sports is my friend Shakiria Howie, and then we have Sheila E. all within the same. Sheila E's coming in. This is all happening in March for Women's Month. Yeah,
I love this. Yeah. So you say it's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't forget my buddy, Mr. Talkbox. He's the last one that we bring in the rear.
Okay.
And he's worked with so many different people. I mean, Bruno Mars. He did the 24 Karat Magic intro.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and when he's done stuff with Cardi B. Kendrick Lamar, just in the Earth, Wind and Fire.
Jeez.
He's big time. I mean, a producer, keyboard player, tour with NSYNC. Incredible. Oh my gosh. Incredible.
This is so amazing because you say that it's in their tuition. So this is really like an actual curriculum that is kind of focused on kids coming up that really want to be in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, anything that has to do with entertainment, you know, the business of it, the understanding of how to navigate through it, how to really mentally prepare yourself for this to be able to endure it every day, because it's not about, you know, this quick fix microwave like, you know, industry that we see today. There's actually longevity in this. You know, I started playing when I was 12, 13 years old, but I started, you know, making money and understanding, oh, this could be a career for me at the age of 15.
Wow.
So I just like kept building on top of that. And then by the time I got to college, I learned a lot, but then also I wanted to know more. So this is the more that for those students that when I was that age, I'm giving them that more.
Well, I wanted to ask you because I've always been such a lover of jazz.
Yeah.
Like when I was singing and performing, and I was doing R&B, but really what people really didn't know is I wanted to be a jazz singer. And
Give us a sample.
No, not today. See, you should have bought your saxophone.
I'll sit down next time. I got you next time.
But I did, and one of the things, I was really into a lot of the greats. I even was the lead singer for the jazz band in my high school, which was excellent. Nice. And I loved, and I feel like in the 90s, jazz was really, really hot.
Man, jazz was like the ultimate, like everything. I mean, there were like arena shows, there were large festivals of 5,000-10,000 people. I mean, these jazz is still present and it's still got a life of its own, but it's not as large as it used to be.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you feel like that if it wasn't for the festivals and the things kind of keeping it alive? I know you performed at the Essence Music Festival, and I know you have a festival. Yes, I know. I think it's Jazz and Coffee.
Yeah, Jazz and Coffee Estate.
Yeah, and I wonder, you know, for all of us jazz heads and those people, us people who really, really love jazz and we want to continue to keep it alive, do you think that the festivals have really helped? Because so many people come to these festivals, so which tells me that people still love jazz. It's not just hip hop. It's not just R&B. It's not just pop and rock. Jazz is still very much alive.
Yeah, it is. It's not going anywhere. People talk about the format is dying. It's not dying. It's never died. It will never die.
Right.
It's just changing and evolving like every other genre: gospel music, country music, R&B, hip hop. You know, everything morphs into something different. Now, if you're thinking about that particular style of when it started, when it was hot, that well will eventually run dry and you have to go and try to find another blue ocean. So the people have to understand, like, the music as the newer guys and the people around my age, we're that in-between phase to, like, kind of carry it into or usher in this new phase of the genre. You can fight it, you can go kicking and screaming, but it's going to change. And the thing that has to happen is that I think some of the people have to be able to adapt and adjust to what's out there, because there's already, you know, artists out there killing it. I mean, playing large arenas as an instrumentalist and jazz artist. Like, it's crazy, like how large and how big these groups are.
So I wanted to ask you, Robert Glasper. Hands down, I love, and I know he just recently won a Grammy, and I know the Chris Brown made a little bit of comment, but it's okay. He didn't know, and he apologized later. But to me, Robert Glasper, and he's worked with a plethora of artists, all kinds of artists. They're not jazz artists, but he has turned being basically a jazz pianist into something very big.
Well, the biggest thing about his success, I think, is what people don't do enough of. He collaborated. When he blew up, he collaborated with so many artists. Like, he was already a name. He was doing a lot of solo albums, but his breakthrough came when he collaborated and did that collab album. Similar to like Roy Hargrove when he did it back in the day.
I love Roy Hargrove.
So similar model, you know, that he used. I mean, your success is going to come from collaborations. You can blow up as an individual, but every artist has collabed with people to help get them to a certain level to where people know them as a household name. There are some exceptions, but in the bigger picture, like, you have to collaborate with other artists, other musicians, other people.
I agree, because I think that really, and it's funny because that's a name I haven't heard in years, Roy Hargrove. I remember when he did Sometimes Love, No Rhyme or Reason, I think he did. Was that with him? He did a collab with that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was Roy Hargrove.
It may have been, I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I thought it was, but I'm getting little memories. I'm seasoned these days.
Everybody likes a little seasoning.
Oh, okay. But the thing about it is, one of the things for me is, even now still, like on my playlist, I have a lot of different genres of music, but I can even hear the jazz in some of the newer genres. And some of the newer artists that are supposed to be like pop artists, but their songs sound very bossa nova, very jazzy, very, it has like, they have incorporated like hip hop, jazz, and all into one, and it sounds amazing. And they're great musicians.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about this newer generation, because I thought things were just going to get super watered down, and it would only be like this niche market for like jazz and instrumental music. But I got 2 daughters, and my daughters are listening to music that I find very intriguing. I'm like, you listening to this?
Yeah.
Because
how old are your daughters?
12 and 15. My 12-year-old, she's getting ready to turn 13.
Do they play any instruments?
Oh yeah, my oldest daughter Carson, she plays piano and like guitar, and she sings very well.
Wow.
And both daughters dance. Layla, she dances and sings a lot. She's a little bit more shy when it comes to that, but she's coming out of her shell.
I mean, because I've watched you on stage and I watched you perform, and it's like when you're on stage, most jazz musicians, when I go to festivals and things, they're just mainly focused on the music and playing the music, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. But man, you give a show. I mean, you're all over the place. You get it.
I've had a lot of good teachers. Thank you. I had a lot of good teachers, and I was always a hybrid thinker when it came to like the artistry or like music. I guess took like the Prince approach of like trying to master your craft with like your instrument, but then also giving a show at the same time. Yeah. Like I'm watching, Kirk Whalum on one side and listening to his music, and then I'm trying to dance and perform like James Brown and Usher at the same time on stage, because it was all intriguing to me. I mean, I used to love watching Michael Jackson dance as a youngster.
You dance.
Yeah, I mean, I learned watching those people.
You be getting it with that sax. I said, look at
thank you. Yeah. It was just something I had to figure out, because I like it both, and I just like, let me figure out a way to make, the best show for people. So now, it's a thing that people kind of know me as like, oh, the dancing guy.
Well, you have so many fans.
Yeah.
And, when you really started to see all these people that's coming out for you, I mean, I've had friends call and say, hey, I'm getting tickets to go see Marcus Anderson. You want to go? Like, we're all going. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And I remember when I met you so many years ago, we were like trying to, get it, starting out. We were doing our thing. Yeah. And I was like, wow, how amazing. And you were just so humble. And I knew when I met you, I was like, he's got it. He's going to go so far.
No, I appreciate it. I'm just doing what God put me here to do. That's a purpose for all of us, and your purpose shifts from time to time. But like me, I always felt like music was a big aspect to connect with the people, and then sometimes having that one-on-one conversation with them off the stage, to kind of hear a story. Yeah. That fuels me to kind of keep going and to, I don't want to say validate, but confirm of like what God has for me to do.
Yeah. I definitely feel like there's God all in that and all in your music and when you're playing your saxophone. And I said you're an icon, and I do feel that way, because I feel like you have really paid your dues. I feel like you have really, and I know there's so much more that you're doing and moving on with so many other projects, but I just feel like you are really just as talented, if not more, than some of the people that greats that we've known, and and I love your sound.
Thank you.
And you have a very distinct sound.
Mm-hmm.
And and one of the things I wanted to ask you, with your project at North Carolina Central,
mm-hmm.
do you get a lot of students who are interested in coming into the jazz world like you?
Yeah, I do. I don't want to try to like narrow it too much into like jazz and force them down,
right.
the pigeonhole of like, this is what
Yeah.
it is, what you have to do if you play an instrument or if you sing. But I just try to give them an understanding. It's like, you don't have to just stay limited to jazz.
Right.
The beautiful thing, when I was at North Carolina Central, my jazz professor, Dr. Wiggins, he told me, he was like, I just want to give you tools, to be able to go out and compete and play with the best. Like, you can do all that stuff very well, but
Right.
it's like, he wanted to make me as versatile as possible.
Right.
And he did a great job with it, because I've been in situations where like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to get through it. And then because of the tools he gave me, I was able to overcome, like, oh, I gotta chart this out really fast, or something
Mm-hmm.
changed and I gotta use theory in my head. He made not just me, but all of us well equipped to be able to go and handle any situation when it came to the music. So to answer your question, yes, I do get questions about like going into jazz, but I hear a lot more students talking about doing like stuff in like entertainment. It's a little bit more broader,
Yes.
wider now, broader and wider.
A lot more, do you think, behind the scenes instead of in the front, in the forefront?
It's a little bit of both, because of how technology is today. Things are at your fingertips. You can learn anything. I mean, the stuff that I'm telling people, like, there's road experience, but a lot of it too, you can read and get ahead. Mm-hmm. And then that way, what I'm talking about, it doesn't go over your head. It'd be in the industry.
Well, I have to ask you, being around people like Prince and Stevie Wonder and Layla Hathaway, I mean, I need to know, did Stevie give you any advice?
I didn't get to have that level of conversation with him.
Right.
But with Prince, I did. With so many other jazz artists before, I did.
Yeah.
I was always asking questions. The only time I probably wasn't asking questions, I more so listened, was when I was with Prince. I just got nervous.
He had to be so mesmerizing.
He was. Just him walking, and being here. I would stutter whenever I have a question. My brain would be way ahead of my mouth, and it was tripping, like trying to catch up to my brain. And one time I just walked away.
Really?
Yeah, because I just freaking nervous.
It's so funny because recently, I don't know how long ago this interview was, but I was watching The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And Alicia Keys was on there, mm-hmm. and Charlamagne and them were asking her about when about Prince. Her song was so close to mm-hmm. his that song. God, what was that song off her first album?
I know she redid.
Yes, right, exactly. And she talked about the first time when she had to go out to meet with him about getting permission to do, mm-hmm. and and from what I gather when she's talking about him, she kind of was the same. Like, she mm-hmm. was kind of like, oh my God, like it's Prince, because the artistry, like, I don't think that we'll ever get that again.
Yeah. We won't. And I mean, there'll never be another Michael, mm-mm. another James, mm-mm. another Prince, or Stevie. Mm-mm. Those were some powerhouses that kind of helped change and shape the entire music industry. We won't get that again.
We won't get that again. Well, let me ask you, Marcus, mm-hmm. what is on next for Marcus Anderson? Because you have so many positive, wonderful things happening. So mm-hmm. what's on the agenda?
Right now, I'm kind of taking it as it comes, because I haven't really tried to plan a whole lot. Mm-hmm. I speak a lot of things into the atmosphere, and most of it happens within like 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So
what's that mean?
Well, within a year, yeah. Like winter, spring, summer, fall. So within 4 seasons.
Oh, okay.
I normally see like the matriculation of it like a year later. So it's like, I don't know, like, I know right now I'm in like the education factor and aspect of like being at a university and teaching things that I know, which I thought was going to happen a little bit later on in life. Didn't think it before 40. But now I'm just kind of just blown away of what God is doing.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that I want to do. I mean, I guess next, playing at the Super Bowl.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
that's probably,
I love that. Well, I wanted to ask you too, when can we expect another Jazz and Coffee Festival? Because the weather is breaking, the spring is coming.
Well, the next Jazz and Coffee Escape is going to be this July, the 27th through the 29th.
Where?
It's going to be on the campus of North Carolina Central University and their student center. Yeah, 550 Nelson Street. So that's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited about that because we got an incredible lineup. Just to name a few, we got Glenn Jones.
What?
R&B singer. Yeah.
I love Glenn Jones. And you know what? I admire you so much for giving back. Because a lot of people sometimes they leave here, especially in North Carolina. A lot of people become big and they don't really come back. Especially giving back to our HBCUs here. We have a lot of HBCUs and very, very big and very accomplished HBCU universities. North Carolina A&T, number one in the country. North Carolina Central, Fayetteville State. We have so many. Shaw University, St. Augustine's. We have so many, and I feel like people forget about our young people and they don't come back. And I just admire you so much for giving back and coming back to work with our young African Americans and our people of color. And I think you're just fantastic.
Thank you. I have a heart for young people. I like helping. Sometimes when it's a lot, it can be overwhelming. So I'm just trying to find ways to give at a level that everybody can receive, and the quality of it stays intact. It's also about the quality of it versus what you give them. Is like mass produce it, but if you lose the saturation of it, then it's not the same. It doesn't have the same impact.
Exactly. So when can we see you performing again soon? I know you just did a Valentine's performance.
Yeah, so you're probably going to have to travel, to come see me because I don't have the next local show. I don't have until July, which is the festival. July 27th to 29th. Also go to mayjace.net, MAJACE.net. Go to my website, marcusanderson.net, to see my tour schedule, to see where I'm going to be. I got a lot of shows coming up. I'm not even going to run down the list of them. But I think next stop is Georgia. We have Georgia and Mobile, and we have Atlanta, Georgia, and St. James Live, and Mobile, Alabama. And then I have Connecticut and Arizona.
And if people want to follow you and continue to know what's going on with you on your Instagram,
follow me on all of my platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Manderson Sax. Manderson Sax.
How do you spell?
M Anderson and then Sax, S-A-X. My first initial, last name, Sax.
I love it, Marcus. Thank you so much for coming on What's Hot with Jazzie. This was wonderful.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
It was my pleasure. And thank you guys again for watching another fantastic episode of What's Hot with Jazzie. And my special guest, the fabulous jazz saxophonist, Marcus Anderson. And thank you again. And I'm Jazzie Carrington. And until next time, I'm out.